She was like, you see how easy it was for me to find you? She was like, you should probably apologize. Like, no, you want to, I wrote you a nice little apology that I think you should read. And she was like, and if you don't, then I'm going to expose you and I'm going to expose your Grinder profile to your wife. And said, I think she said his wife's name or whatever, but she was like, yeah, I'm going to show her your Grinder profile. If you don't know, Grinder is a gay dating app, a hookup app. So apparently he's been out here fucking on dudes and shit. And he got a whole little secret life or whatever. And she's like, I don't know what she does, but now I was torn. I'm just thinking about asking like your perspective on the whole thing. I thought it was one, hard to believe if it was real or not. Second, if it was real, I'm like, why the fuck would you put yourself in that kind of position? That's dangerous as shit. You don't know.
Right. First thing after I shot you was going to be I was in fear for my life.
It could have really went left. But third, look how easy she fucking found him. Like, you just left a comment under somebody's post and she showed up at your job 2 days later. And it's just like,
well, and willing to drive 3 hours.
Right, because that's 180 miles. I do driving all the time. Yeah, nigga, 120 is 2 hours. 180 that's 3 hours. So that's 180 miles that you took upon yourself that I don't even take lightly. And I do the shit for 16 hours. But for 3 hours, that means that your ass like planned this, got the directions, drove in it, was mad the entire 3 hours that you was driving just to go pull up on somebody and said, I found you. If somebody did that to me, you getting shot first. Simply because if you was crazy enough to do that shit, I don't know where you're planning on going from after that. So in my defense with the lawyer on this one, I'm going to be like, Your Honor, this person showed up from a different county to something. I don't know what they was talking about. They approached me at my workplace, came up and showed me a phone and asked me, was it smart that I left a comment on a website that I have no knowledge of? And then they threatened my house. They threatened my wife with my thing. And they said something like, you see how easy it was? And I must have blacked out because when I came through, my gun was smoking and their ass was laying on the ground. Temporary insanity.
Yes, good luck with that.
Absolutely. I mean, I weapon.
That's fine. I can put the butter knife and tighten it up in the air like she came at me.
I did go believe that.
Hey, but you'd be surprised.
I don't know. I thought it was entertaining.
If she showed up at your job after 3 hours and they find her with a steak knife in her hand, they gonna believe that. Because what was she doing there?
Well, her demeanor was very pleasant.
Oh, I don't give a shit. Everybody's OJ was pleasant, had a pleasant demeanor about him. People love OJ. Shit. When a knife in his hand, OJ wasn't too nice.
This reminds me of an episode on South Park. I'm not sure if you saw it. South Park did an episode just like how you said, where they had this system or online like media place where you can log in and put in your information, and then you can find somebody online exactly where they are, who they are, and I think it was called Troll Trace. And then once people started using this program, they started to go like set some of the trolls or the people that made heinous comments like on fire and like beat them up. But could you imagine if whatever program she used?
Yes. But again, like I said, if I'm in court with that though, and the judge be like, well, you shot an unarmed person, I'd be like, well, she had the steak knife. But my thing is that she drove for 3 hours. That's looking bad on her. That means that she took it out of her day to do all this and drive to somebody she didn't know for 3 hours and confront them, and she got shot.
So underneath all of this, I'm sitting here real time thinking. So what does that say? Well, not even that. Just this is just one example of it, but on a much broader scale, how much accountability do you think people should be held for the things that they say and or do on the internet? When it comes to
now, did he make a threat or racist comment?
But how much accountability do you think, or how much responsibility do you think people should be held for the things that they say and do on the internet? Even down to leaving a racist comment on somebody's picture or something on Instagram.
I mean, I think I'm still going to apply it as, unless you're threatening somebody, it's still a form of freedom of speech. Because he could have saw that person in person or saw her in person, still made the same comment. Would she still have tried to figure out who he is? Maybe. She probably would have got his license plate, took a picture of him, did a Google image reverse search. There's a whole lot of ways to find people.
Yeah. So
Even on this camera, on me.
yeah, but it's but it's just like
This is why I'm not looking at that camera.
right. But so that's my thing. Like, so much freedom do you think you should be able to say on the internet without being held accountable for the things you say?
But like confused.
It's like you get people who do that so much. Like they feel so free to say certain things behind a keyboard because they know or they feel that there's no repercussions for it, and there's no way that it can come back to them, and I can say whatever I want to say. I'm in Chicago and you in LA. We ain't gonna ever meet each other. I'm gonna call you all kind of names, but you don't really know who this person is, what kind of connects they got, or how easily you leave a trail on the internet and how easy it may be to find you. Because I can guarantee you probably wouldn't say that into that person's face. And the only reason you feel comfortable saying it is because you're online.
Yeah, but I have to date back to old school mentality, and I remember my dad saying this, especially when you started getting to fights when you were younger. But he's like, they can say whatever. He's like, as long as they don't put their hands on you, you good. Like, cause words, he's like, words ain't nothing. Like, you sit up here and say, he's like, word ain't never gonna cut you. He's like, but they put their hands on you, that's something completely different. And that's how I feel about the internet. Like, nigga, you're on the internet. It's like, what are you going to take that serious to make you drive 3 hours to confront somebody? And it's like, what kind of person are you?
Not even necessarily just that example. I mean,
well, no, I'm just, using it as but I'm just saying in any example that a person would have repercussions. I mean, if it's done in say it's like a news station or something where they have guidelines that certain things can't be said or promoted, then okay, yeah. Well, you got to abide by those guidelines. But for an individual to take something personally said on the internet, and you got to be all up in your feelings to find some type of reaction, I'm like, D, I was like, that's just stupid.
So what about like people tend to get mad at the reaction, but they don't be mad at the action. So it's like somebody did something to make a person react that way. It's like you can say what you want, but you can't control how a person reacts.
Yeah, you can't.
They can walk up to me and say X, Y, and Z, and depending on how what kind of day I'm having, it's like, hey, you say the wrong thing, you liable to get punched in the mouth.
Okay.
And it's like, why does that, that those consequences are so diminished when when it comes to the internet? So it's like,
well, you can't. Yeah, but I mean, you punch somebody for saying something to you in real life. I mean, you face the consequence of that. Yeah, you going to jail. You gonna get an assault charge, and the dude got medical issues. You got to pay for that. So there are other consequences that follow in punching somebody in the face, whether it's online or in person. So it's to me, it's like it's no different. Somebody's call you a boo boo head online. It's like, okay, you gonna freak out and go find this person to go punch him in the face, and then what? You're going to suffer those same consequences because you assaulted somebody. Now you got to go to jail and you got to follow the XYZ and all that. It was like, okay, was it worth it? Being caught up.
Well, it's never worth it. It's not even worth it in person, but it's still the difference of, I think, it's just like, man, people, you could tell who's never been punched in the face before. Like, you can just tell just by some people's demeanor and the way that they so flippantly just say things and snap on people, especially like Karens and stuff. And it's like, man, you never been.
I'm waiting on my Karen. Like waiting.
Yeah, you tell I've been punched because I know the healing time, and it's like I know how to take a punch to the point where it's not gonna affect.
It's like with judges, it's like at least in person you can judge. You be like, okay, so I know the consequences of my actions. I know this person just said something to me. Dude might be bigger than me. If I swing on this dude, I might lose. And it might take
If you hit them right,
might depends. Depends. So,
it ain't the jar you aim for.
well, I'm just expensive,
Go
More than an iron.
go punch somebody in the throat and see if the chin matters.
Could you imagine like this, man? I don't know about y'all, but I'm waiting on my Karen, man. Hey.
Wait, what do you mean waiting on your kin?
Waiting on, walking down the street. If I'm, like let's say if one,
Are you supposed to be here?
yeah, like
I live here.
have you ever seen those videos where a black person is with their kids in a park and a white person comes up and they say, "Hey, are you supposed to be playing in this park? Are you authorized to be in this park?" They act like they're authorized or over the park, and they tell you got to leave the park or you're trespassing. Like, who the fuck are you? And there's plenty of videos out there.
No, I don't watch them, but oh, that interesting.
Or you can't record in front of my business. You ain't never seen all those crazy videos out there, those social media warriors. And my First Amendment right, I can record anything.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah,
After the resident hearings and stuff, I've seen where it was a dude that lives. He like was in his work truck, but he was at home or parked outside of his home, whatever. And he was in his work truck. Some old white lady walked up and knocked on his window, scared the shit out of him, and she's like asking him like, "Why are you parked here?" And he was like, "Why do you care?" He was like, "Who are you?" She was like, "Well, I live here, and I'm just wondering why you parked here." And he's like, "It's none of your business." It's like, why are you concerned about what I'm doing? Like sitting here, I'm not bothering anybody. I'm sitting here in a work truck. It's like a work truck. It's like probably got like a business name on the side or whatever. And she's just so adamant about finding out why he's sitting here in the neighborhood and telling him he can't sit here or whatever. And come to find out, like, he's parked in front of his house. And she was like, "Yeah, you don't know every single person that that lives here, but because he looks a certain way, and because he's a black guy, he was just like, hey, you don't look like you belong in this neighborhood." But it's like there's a different level of it, because I'm like, I can completely understand and empathize with the idea of, hey, I live in a certain community. I'm used to seeing a certain type of person here. So if I see somebody who doesn't look like they fit in here, I'm going to be like, that's interesting. But then to feel the audacity to approach this person and inquire about why are you in my neighborhood is like, who the fuck are you? Like, who gave you a badge? And who gave you? And it was like, if you so concerned about this person and what they could possibly be doing in your neighborhood, you're not concerned about what they would possibly do to you. You rolling up on them and questioning them about